Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. The crisp morning air swirled around Parker as he strode purposefully toward the gleaming office building, his new leather shoes clicking smartly against the sidewalk. Nerves fluttered in his stomach, but he took a deep breath and pushed open the heavy glass door, determined to make a strong first impression on his first day as Mr. Johnson's executive assistant. The marble lobby echoed with his footsteps as he approached the security desk.
"Hi there, I'm Parker Williams, the new EA for Mr. Johnson,"
he said, giving the guard a confident smile. The guard nodded curtly and handed him a temporary badge.
20th floor, can't miss it.
Thanks. Parker clipped the badge to his crisp white shirt and headed for the elevators, straightening his red tie. His hand trembled slightly as he pushed the button for the 20th floor. This was by far the most prestigious company he'd ever worked for. He couldn't screw this up. The elevator doors slid open with a muted ding, revealing a sleek, modern office space. Floor-to-ceiling windows let in plenty of natural light, gleaming off the polished wood floors. A striking blonde woman in a tailored skirt suit clacked toward him on sky-high heels. "You must be Parker," she said, giving him an appraising once-over.
"I'm Jessica, Mr. Johnson's executive secretary. He's expecting you."
She led him past glass-walled conference rooms and busy admin desks to a corner office with an imposing mahogany door. Gold lettering spelled out, "Arthur Johnson, CEO." Jessica knocked twice and opened the door. "Parker Williams is here to see you, sir."
"Send him in."
The deep voice carried an undertone of impatience. Parker squared his shoulders and entered the spacious office. Framed business degrees and accolades lined the walls. Behind a massive desk sat Arthur Johnson, an intimidating figure in an impeccable charcoal suit. Steel gray hair and piercing blue eyes gave him an air of shrewd authority. "Have a seat, Parker," Mr. Johnson said, gesturing to the leather armchair facing his desk.
"Impressive resume. Wharton School of Business, executive assistant experience at Oracle and Apple. What made you apply here?"
Parker perched on the edge of the chair, willing his voice to remain steady.
"Well, sir, Virtuoso Enterprises is on the cutting edge of tech innovation. Working here would be an incredible opportunity for me to learn and contribute at the highest level. I'm ready for the challenge."
Mr. Johnson steepled his hands, studying Parker intently.
"I'll be frank, Parker. I usually prefer a female assistant, someone to handle my scheduling, travel arrangements, personal errands, that sort of thing. But your qualifications were too good to pass up."
He leaned back, a glimmer of amusement in his eyes.
"I'm sure you're up to the task, aren't you? No job too big or too small?"
"Absolutely, sir," Parker replied earnestly.
"I'm here to make your life easier in any way I can. You can count on me."
"Excellent. Jessica will get you set up. I'll email you with any specific tasks. That'll be all for now." Mr. Johnson turned his attention to his computer, clearly dismissing him. Parker stood. "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." Jessica waiting outside, tapping efficiently on an iPad. "Let's get you settled at your desk and go over the basics, shall we? First things first, always have Mr. Johnson's coffee ready first thing, black, no sugar." The rest of the morning passed in a whirlwind of HR paperwork, computer logins, and company protocols. By noon, Parker's head was spinning with new information. He rolled his neck, trying to release some of the tension. A ping from his computer made him jump. An email from Mr. Johnson already?
He clicked it open. "Parker, I need you to run a couple quick errands over your lunch break. Pick up my gray Armani suit from the cleaners on 7th and grab me a turkey club from the deli next door. While you're out, treat yourself to some new clothes on the company card. Something more stylish than that drab suit you wore today. Maybe ask a salesgirl for advice. I need an assistant who represents the Virtuoso brand. Remember, image is everything."
A.J. Parker blinked at the screen, a mix of indignation and anxiety twisting his gut. His suit wasn't drab, was it? He glanced down at his slightly rumpled shirt and generic red tie. Maybe Mr. Johnson had a point. If he wanted to be taken seriously here, he needed to look the part. Grabbing the company credit card from his wallet, he hurried out to complete his tasks, determined to prove his worth. The crisp air helped clear his head as he walked briskly down the crowded sidewalk. 7th Avenue cleaners had a line 3 deep when Parker arrived. He fidgeted with his tie as he waited, mentally running through his to-do list. When his turn finally came, he gave the bored-looking clerk Mr. Johnson's name. "Gray Armani suit, yeah, I remember that one," the guy said, popping his gum.
"Real particular about the crease in the pants. Kinda a hard-ass, huh?" "He just expects the best,"
Parker said mildly, not wanting to speak ill of his new boss. The clerk snorted.
"Whatever you say, man. Let me go grab it from the back."
As Parker waited, his phone chimed with a new email. Another one from Mr. Johnson with a video attachment. The subject line read, "Required viewing for all executive assistants. Open immediately." Intrigued, Parker downloaded the clip and hit play. The video started with a spinning spiral graphic in shades of pink and purple. An androgynous voice spoke over undulating ambient music. "Welcome to the Virtuoso family. As an executive assistant, you play a vital role in our success. Image perception and adaptability are crucial. Release your preconceptions. Embrace your full potential. Become who you need to be." Mesmerized by the swirling colors, Parker felt strangely lightheaded, almost like he was floating above himself. The voice seemed to echo inside his head.
"Surrender your identity. Like water, flow into your new shape. Fluid and flexible. Breathe in your new purpose. Exhale your past. You are transforming, evolving, becoming your highest self. The ultimate assistant, Virtuoso, is your world now. Be what your executive needs you to be." With a gasp, Parker emerged from the trance-like state as the video ended. He shook his head, trying to clear the lingering fog. That was bizarre. Some kind of new-agey corporate brainwashing? He must have just zoned out for a minute there. "Yo, buddy, here's your boss's suit," the clerk called, holding out the garment bag with an impatient frown. "Oh, right. Sorry." Parker took the hanger, disoriented. The clerk was already helping the next customer. Clutching the suit, he stepped back out onto the busy street. But the world seemed different somehow. Oversaturated, a little too bright. Sounds and smells assaulted him with intense clarity. His shirt collar felt tight, restrictive. A wave of dysphoria made his skin prickle all over. With rising panic, Parker looked down at his own body. Since when did his pants feel so baggy and unflattering? And his nails? They looked sad and stubby, crying out for a manicure. He ran a hand over his close-cropped hair and recoiled. It was way too short and all wrong for his face shape. He needed to grow it out immediately. What was he thinking, walking around like this? He was a mess. The thought struck him suddenly, crystal clear and undeniable. He shouldn't be a he at all. Parker was all wrong, a total misalignment with his true self. No, his identity was Christine. Christine was classy and confident, polished and poised. The perfect executive assistant. And she wouldn't be caught dead in this schlumpy outfit. Heart racing, Christine ducked into the first women's clothing boutique she saw. She had to fix this fashion emergency pronto. Thank God Mr. Johnson had told her to treat herself. He clearly had impeccable taste and knew exactly what his assistant needed. A salesgirl with a sleek blonde bob and red lipstick approached with a warm smile. "Welcome in. Can I help you find anything today?" "I'm looking for a few new outfits for the office," Christine said, surprised at how naturally feminine her voice sounded now. "I want to upgrade my look, more stylish and put together." The girl nodded. "I have just the thing. Follow me." In the changing room, Christine took off her ill-fitting suit with a shudder of distaste. She caught sight of herself in the full-length mirror and stared, shocked. Soft curves and long legs, full lips and thick lashes. This was her real body, the one she was always meant to have. Tears pricked her eyes as she ran reverent hands over her new shape. It felt so right, so perfectly her. She slipped on the first dress the salesgirl had picked out.
a tailored sheath in a rich teal that hugged her figure and made her eyes pop. Sophisticated, yet subtly nice. Mr. Johnson would definitely approve. "That looks amazing on you," the girl gushed when Christine emerged. "Like it was made for your body." "I'll take it," Christine said decisively. She tried on outfit after outfit, relishing her newfound beauty and femininity. Pencil skirts, silk blouses, cashmere sweaters, sky-high heels. Each piece transformed her further into the poised, polished woman she was meant to be. Loaded up with shopping bags, Christine stopped at the deli to pick up Mr. Johnson's turkey club, adding a salad for herself. She felt like a whole new person, and her new persona came with new tastes. Gone were the days of wolfing down greasy burgers and fries. Christine was health-conscious and had to watch her figure. Back at the office, she stopped at the ladies' room before heading up, needing to see her new self in the mirror. She fluffed her lengthening honey blonde hair, applied some lip gloss, and adjusted her chest in her new low-cut blouse. Perfect. She was every inch the beautiful, capable assistant Mr. Johnson deserved. She sailed into his office with a dazzling smile, high heels clicking on the marble floor. "Here's your suit and sandwich, Mr. Johnson," she said, setting them on his desk. "And thanks so much for the clothing allowance. I feel so much more confident and professional now." Mr. Johnson looked up, openly appreciative as his eyes roamed her figure.
Well, well, don't you clean up nicely? Parker, wasn't it?"
Christine suppressed a cringe. That name felt so wrong now, a relic of a past identity she'd shed like an ill-fitting skin. "Actually, it's Christine now," she said with a silky laugh. "Surprise? Do you like it?" Mr. Johnson leaned back in his chair, a slow grin spreading across his handsome face.
"I like it very much. Christine, I had a feeling you'd take to this job like a duck to water. Or should I say, like a swan emerging from an ugly duckling."
Christine preened at the compliment, delighted to have pleased him. "I feel so much more like my true self now, more authentic, more aligned with who I'm meant to be. The ultimate assistant to help make your life easier." I can see that," Mr. Johnson purred, standing and circling his desk. He made her shiver.
"You know, I'm very pleased with your initiative, Christine, going above and beyond on your first day."
She looked up at him from under her lashes.
"I aim to please, Mr. Johnson. I'll do whatever it takes to be the best assistant you've ever had."
His eyes smoldering into hers.
"Oh, I have no doubt about that, my dear. No doubt at all. I think this is the beginning of a very successful partnership."
Christine's head swam with the thrill of his approval, his closeness. This was what she was made for, supporting him, transforming herself to meet his every need. Nothing else mattered anymore. She was his, mind, body, and soul. "I'm yours, Mr. Johnson," she breathed. Mr. Johnson smiled, sending a shiver down her spine.
"That's what I like to hear,"
he murmured. "Now be a good girl and fetch me a coffee. Black, no sugar." "Right away, sir," Christine breathed, every fiber of her being eager to please. She turned on her stiletto heel and sashayed out, reveling in the appreciative weight of his gaze. In the gleaming office kitchen, she went through the motions of brewing his coffee on autopilot, her mind still reeling from the encounter. The heady rush of femininity, the electric thrill of his touch, the bone-deep rightness of her new identity. It was almost too much to process. As the rich aroma of coffee filled the air, Christine caught sight of her reflection in the chrome fridge door. The face looking back at her was both utterly foreign and achingly familiar, like a long-lost version of herself emerging from a foggy dream. Memories from her old life as Parker flickered at the edges of her consciousness, but they felt distant now, faded and unimportant. Parker nervously straightening his tie in the elevator that morning, hoping to make a good impression. A phantom sensation, quickly overridden by the sleek brush of Christine's silk blouse against her skin. Parker hunching over his laptop, squinting at spreadsheets late into the night. The image dissolved, replaced by visions of Christine perched elegantly at her desk, nails clicking on her keyboard as she efficiently managed Mr. Johnson's schedule. Unbidden, a specific memory surfaced, vivid and jarring against the pastel haze of her new existence. The clatter of barbells and the acrid tang of sweat. Parker, in ratty gym shorts and a faded t-shirt, straining to press a heavy weight above his chest. His muscles burned with the effort, but he reveled in the raw power of his body, the testosterone-fueled drive to push himself to the limit. "Come on, bro, one more rep," his spotter yelled, slapping him on the back. "You got this!" With a guttural yell, Parker forced the bar up, veins popping in his neck and forearms. He racked the weight and sat up, adrenaline coursing through his blood. His spotter whooped and high-fived him, congratulating him on a new PR. Christine blinked rapidly, the smell of iron and sweat fading back into the clean, coffee-scented air of the office. She looked down at her delicate hands, the French manicured nails showing not a hint of callus or strain. The idea of straining and sweating in a grungy weight room seemed laughable now, completely at odds with her graceful new self. Why would she ever want to build crude, bulky muscles when she could sculpt her figure with Pilates and bar classes instead? No, Christine's strength came from her poise, her unflappable competence, her feminine wiles. She was more than happy to leave the grunting displays of masculinity in the past where they belonged. Shaking off the strange moment of cognitive dissonance, Christine finished preparing Mr. Johnson's coffee and carried it carefully back to his office. He was on the phone when she entered, but shot her a quick wink as she set the steaming cup on his desk. Sinking down into her own plush chair, Christine crossed her endless legs and flipped open her moleskin planner, the very picture of a poised, put-together executive assistant. This was her domain now, the role she was born to inhabit. The power of the feminine, fully expressed. As she lost herself in the soothing flow of emails, scheduling, and planning, Christine's past life as Parker slipped further and further away, like a sepia-toned dream fading in the brilliant light of her present. She was exactly where she belonged, supporting the most powerful man she knew, wielding her own quiet influence from the tastefully appointed shadows. The days passed in a blissful blur of fulfilled duties and feminine rituals. Christine arrived each morning perfumed and polished, armed with a double-shot latte and a color-coded agenda. She anticipated Mr. Johnson's every need, often before he even articulated it. An extra dress shirt and tie waiting in his private bathroom, just in case. His favorite sushi ordered and waiting when a meeting ran long. A hair and makeup touch-up arranged for her the minute she mentioned a big presentation.
"You're a godsend, Christine,"
he told her often, his eyes lingering on her face. "I don't know how I ever managed without you." Christine would duck her head demurely, a frisson of pleasure zipping through her at the praise. "I'm just doing my job, Mr. Johnson. I'm here to make your life easier." And she was. From whisking away his dry cleaning, to wrangling his unruly schedule, to booking his extravagant business trips, Christine devoted herself body and soul to the smooth running of Arthur Johnson's empire. Her world narrowed to his wants and needs, his success and satisfaction. Her own desires grew fuzzy and indistinct, as hazy as her memories of Parker's life. Hadn't she once had hobbies, interests, an identity outside of the office? Vague images would surface from time to time, Parker laughing with his college buddies over beers, or captaining his rec league basketball team to a hard-fought victory, only to dissolve like mist in the face of her current hyper-feminine existence. What need had she for male bonding rituals or silly sports now that she had a standing weekly blowout at the best salon in the city? Or a tri-weekly wax to keep her body silky smooth? Or private sessions with Mr. Johnson's personal shopper to curate her designer work wardrobe? Christine's pleasure came from reflecting well on him, embodying the perfect assistant in and out of the office. Even her body itself seemed to reshape itself to his specifications, her curves growing more pronounced, her skin more flawless and glowing, her voice more musical and beguiling. She was a work of art, sculpted by his desires and her own drive to fulfill them. Only in the deepest dark of night, Alone in her high thread count sheets, did whispers of doubt or unease penetrate her rosy, perfumed world. Fragments of Parker's life would flash behind her eyelids as she drifted off to sleep. His easy camaraderie with his guy friends, the simple pleasure of a pickup basketball game, the sense of individual identity and agency. Had the constant pressure to perform femininity always been this exhausting? Didn't Parker's simpler chinos and button-downs life have its own appeal, free from the relentless male gaze and sky-high expectations? But then Christine would awaken in the soft glow of dawn, wrapped in her silk negligee, and the strange nighttime notions would evaporate like dew. How could she ever go back to a life of bland, boring masculinity when being a woman was so intoxicatingly wonderful? The beauty? No, Christine could never give that up, not for anything. At the office, their interactions remained scrupulously professional on the surface, but the dominance and submission grew more pronounced with each passing day. Thanks for watching. The rest won't be viewable on YouTube, so check out Patreon if you want more.